And we are back for round one. This is typically a draw first format, so I'm going to choose not to play first. There's some cases where that's incorrect, such as if you know your opponent's playing the Infect deck, you usually don't want to give them that, but it's possible. So this hand is actually surprisingly close to keepable. If this was a Plains, I might just do it. With the double mirror and the galvanizer, like it's one land away from being great, and I've got 2 draws at it. So let's actually do the math. That's worth doing the math for. So handy dandy calculator. All right, so we've got 16 lands left in the deck out of 33. That means we'll have one in 2 turns, and I've got 2 draws, so we should actually keep this. I don't keep a lot of one-landers, but this one has a lot of potential should we hit that. Also, we can loot away excess crap with the Riddlesmith if we want to. I am going to go ahead and run out the Spell Bomb just so I don't have to potentially discard next turn. Like, we've got plenty of stuff to help Home Slice loot if that's what we want to do. Now, if they play a Plague Stinger, we're probably just dead, but that's all right. So we can get Riddlesmith going. We can get a Silver Mirror going. I think given the state of my hand, I'd rather play a mirror here. So I'll run out the Silver Mirror. That just gives me the option to cast more stuff next turn. Now, it's quite possible they're going to kill it. Yeah, and my guess would be this is somebody who has played Scars of Mirrodin a lot. If they're blowing premium removal on that, that's a good thing for our opponent. All right, so they've played a Scuttler, which is going to continue to deal damage to both of us. We're a little bit mana screwed here. To be fair, is my fault. I kept a one-lander. It was on the strength of Mirror, but removal spells happened. So we can cycle this to hit a land drop, which I think is probably where I go. Like, that gives us the option of actually developing our board. We don't have a lot of ways to interact with a Scuttler. It's one of the few things that, like threats that Revoke Existence won't get. We do have a 3/3 flyer of our own that I can dig to given enough time. Time is on my side. Well, that we may just have to revoke. And hitting a land is kind of perfect, I think. So let's get you out of here, because you do not belong. And I think I'm going to go with the Riddlesmith as opposed to the Galvanizer, because this lets me do more next turn, I suppose, if I hit a land. But this guy lets me get rid of the turn aside if I don't want it. I think I want to dig for something that can block and trade with that Scuttler. And like Trinket Mage into Origin Spellbomb, discarding turn aside, doesn't seem bad. This would explain why the green dinosaurs were a bit cut, as this is probably a deck that would want them to. That's unfortunate. He's going to nom my Riddlesmith. Come on, dude. Lifesmith is a real card. Alright. If we had more stuff to get with the Trinket Mage, this would be really cool, but we don't. We can surprise deal them 3 damage with this, which is kind of cute. You know, I might just want to do that. And play the Stag. The Stag holds the ground. It turns the race a little bit towards our favor. If I don't play this idiot soon, it's going to be a problem. I could also play the Galvanizer, holding up, turn aside, hit for 2 this turn. God, I just needed to play these mirrors sooner, I think. That doesn't matter. It would have died anyway. Like, if they actually have artifact spells and begin gaining life off of this, we're in trouble winning this race. Because we've got the 2 keep it tapped cards. We just need to draw them. I suppose attacking for 1 Trinket Mage and getting the Spell Bomb is probably not a bad start. It gives me something that can block this. It gets a card out of the deck that's not that, which is minuscule but does increase my odds. So I'm going to go with that line. I'm not in love with it, but it lets me use all of my mana. I kind of want 1 more land so that we could play the Galvanizer and the dude, but here we are. Yes, I would like to use that ability. Let's get that Spell Bomb and get you in play. Opponent appropriately has some X1 hate in their deck, which is good. Arbalest is interesting in their deck. That's normally not what I think of here, but it certainly looks like it's working for them now. Them gaining life means like attacking is probably not the way to go, and oddly enough blinking their dudes isn't a super big help, but I think I'm supposed to get galvanized and swing and play that other mirror. Actually, I may as well just leave up Turnaside and the Origin Spell Bomb. Like, I don't need the mana next turn. I could draw something that makes me wish I'd done it, but... if they decide to go for, like, Flesh Allergy or something, we'll be happy about that. Alright. So, like, Home Slice is dead anyway, right? You know what? Screw it. No, I do want to block. I do want to block. Like, I assume they know what they're doing. But I do want to trade off with that. That's not scary. We may actually be able to win this. So we've got them at 8, which means we need to get through basically with 1 mirror next turn, because the Glimmerpoint Stag will deal the final. So we've got to get through with 2 dudes next turn, which means I should probably just play the other mirror and pass. We're a little weak to them breaking up our combo, but I think we're going to get there depending on what their last card is. Oh, or it's just nothing. Cool. I felt like we were a little behind the game there for a while, and then Mirror Galvanizer plus Origin Spellbomb dudes just kind of took the cake. I never liked Chromesteed unless you had enough artifacts, and it doesn't look like they have enough artifacts, but again, we've seen, what, 14, 12 cards from their deck, so it's really impossible to know. I wasn't super impressed with Turnaside. Like, they've got a Grasp of Darkness, but so... Is that an instant? It's a bad instant. So bad. And this is just like a fog, right? Yeah. Combat tricks are pretty meh. Wall of Tangle Chord's okay, but not if we're not playing a forest. I may not have anything better than this. The Sea Strider's interesting in that it stops their ground pounder dude. But so does kind of everything else that we're doing. I'm not really impressed with the Shikari either, but welcome to Scars. Sometimes you play some bad cards. In our draft, it didn't go perfectly. You might say we have myriad ways to win, right? Meh. Is a Wayfarer just better than that? Like it seems like if you'd want a Wayfarer, you'd want a Plated Sea Strider, but if they played a Chrome Steed, maybe I'd just rather have this than a Turn Aside. I think I probably would. Now, generally speaking, they should put me on the play. But they chose not to. Okay, interesting. We'll take it. This is a great hand, as far as I'm concerned. If I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly. The only time you want to go on the play for sure is if you know your opponent's on Infect, because you just can't let them get out ahead of you. But we've got a pretty good start here with Glinthawk Idol into Mirror into Snapsail Glider. And the Glinthawk is immune to a lot of sorcery speed removal. The Grasp of Darkness, which they're representing here, could still get it. But that's kind of fine if that's what they want to do. They can't do it this turn. We can curve out, but it's kind of better to keep hitting these Glinthawk Idols. Yeah, I'm down with doing this. There's Grasp of Darkness. I suppose it's possible we want to turn this into a creature, but not particularly likely. Here we'll go ahead and jam this guy. Blurp. I dare you to play an artifact. Well, I was going to say I dare you to play an artifact that does something. This one does not. It's kind of a 3 mana 4 damage over a couple turns type of deal, which is fine, just not actively good. I'm using the most of my mana if I go get an Origin Spellbomb, play it, and crack it, and that sounds great. So it also gives me something to do with the Stag. Actually, it's 3 mana to play it and crack it, so even though I have it, I may just want to play the Mirror now. Because like playing it if I'm not going to crack it in the same turn doesn't really do anything. Origin Spellbomb is very close to Elvish Visionary, which was a great card. So there's a proliferate mechanic where you can add counters to something that already has a counter, and that can do interesting things here. If you've got to get Metalcraft, this is a way to do. This card is a way to do it. And also, some decks are interested in 3 mana 4 damage to the face. Okay, they're playing the dinosaur deck we were talking about. Like that's what's up. Is they want to do things with this. We want to do things with this. I'm going to pop this first. It's not super likely that we draw something that's relevant, but like this gives us a strong game plan for next turn, in that we will have the Thresher online and potentially Glimmer Point to blink something. Because there's 6, 7, so we can actually get something big enough to trade with that. We do have flyers that can hit this turn. I don't think I want to revoke a Censor, as it just doesn't do enough. And like, they're not in a position where they can attack me with that Tyrax, unless I'm really missing something. Yeah, I think they're close to dead if they play that, aren't they? I'm starting to get there. If I hit a Plains, I think they're just dead, or a cheap artifact. Well, that's Plains. So what happens here is they're at 7. We blink this, attack with our flyers. It comes back in the battlefield and they're dead. So let's do that then. So this will deal 4, and then they'll take another 3 when that re-enters the battlefield, and they're done. Ploop! Welcome to Bars of Mirrodin. I like the tequila. We'll see you guys for round 2 in just a little bit.